So talk to us about what specifically your bill would do. Bans chokeholds. Why is that so important?
It's Assembly Bill 1196 that will ban chokeholds and also the carotid restraint. The carotid restraint is the method that was used by the police officer that actually took the life and murdered George Floyd. And so we want to ban those techniques in the state of California. The governor's come out saying that he would sign the bill, and my job is to get it onto the governor's desk through the legislative process.
How's that going? Where are we at?
Well, we're gathering a number of signatures from communities, based organizations, and individuals who support this bill. We're trying to get 200,000 people to support this bill. Right now, it's scheduled to go to the Senate Public Safety Committee for its first hearing that will take place in July. And we are very optimistic that we will have the support from the Public Safety Committee. Right now, this bill is receiving bipartisan support. Democrats and Republicans are supporting this bill, and I'm very excited.
Assemblymember Gipson, sorry, I was going to say that we had Sheriff Villanueva in here, and he was concerned that if this tool, as he called it, was taken away, it could result in the increase in the use of deadly force of other means. As a former officer, do you have any opinion about that?
Well, I would say Los Angeles Police Department banned chokeholds years ago, and they seem to still be able to provide law enforcement and effect arrests. Other departments, San Diego, the city of San Diego has banned its practice, the county of San Diego, other cities in Orange counties. So I would just push back on the sheriff to simply say you can still effect arrests without utilizing this particular method to effect an arrest.
You come to this debate from an interesting perspective. You were a former officer in Maywood yourself. You're an African-American man. You have seen these hundreds of thousands of people marching saying Black Lives Matter, also saying defund the police. What do you make of this particular moment in the history of our state and the history of our country? How do you reflect upon it?
It's almost like when you walk out, Alex, and you smell rain, but you don't see it. Well, we walk out and we see change in the air. Change is coming. We see time and time again on social media where law enforcement officers have taken their authority and pushed it abusively. And so through this bill, 1196, it provides a form of change how we look at and do policing in the state of California. And the Legislative Black Caucus is also taking on other different policies to reform law enforcement in the state of California. Now understand, there are bad apples in every profession. We want to make sure within this profession we have good police officers who wear a badge, providing service to the community and protecting the community. And we hope that through this process, it weed out those who should not be wearing a uniform and a badge in this state.
Assemblymember, also, I am sure you're aware in the city of Los Angeles, the mayor is trying to fold in mental health services. We talked to the LA County Board of Supervisor, Catherine Barger, yesterday, and she was interested in getting social workers on board with police officers. Are you working at the state level to do anything like this?
I believe my colleagues are working on that because we know that mental health is a strong issue in the state of California. You will see some extra funding regarding mental health in this year's budget. We know that we have to address it from its roots. And so we will make sure that resources to address this particular issue.
Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill in Washington, we saw police reform efforts in the Senate essentially die today.
Yeah.
Democrats not getting on board with the Republican plan there. The Democrats in the House expected to pass their own bill tomorrow. What do you make for the hopes of police reform across the country? Do you think that's going to happen? And if it does, how would that affect us here?
You know, I would hope that police reform would take place and take hold in Washington, D.C. to create federal legislation that all states will be governed. But I have no faith in what's going on in Washington, D.C., especially around this administration, to create executive order to limit in terms of saying that you can in fact use chokeholds and these form of techniques only.
Oops.
push back. I'm looking for real change to take place in November, where the occupant in the White House will be gone and real reform take place across the United States of America.
All right, Assemblyman Gipson, thank you so much.